worked on 3. I gave you the solutions to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming everything went pretty good. All right, so we're ready to start 4. All right, here we go. So with the start of chapter 4, this is where you had to write all the equations. All right, so let's just review a few things that are critical. Number 1, we need to write the 3 forms that you're responsible for. All right, and the 3 forms that you're responsible for are slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and standard form. Right, so we have the most common is y equals mx plus b, and that is your slope-intercept. Point slope, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and standard ax plus by equals c. You just have to be specific when they ask you a question, what form you have to use. Yes?
Don't they have to be like
Standard form, yes. A and B and C are no fractions, and A has to be positive. All right, A has to be positive. They also have to be relatively prime, but that doesn't come up that much. Okay, so let's move on now. Let's see what we have today. All right, find the equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so this one should be pretty simple because, again, y equals mx plus b, and we know if the slope is -2, don't forget that's the m value, and the y-intercept is 4, that's the b value, and you just plug them right in. So it just becomes y equals -2x plus 4. Right? Very simple. All right. Now, we talked a little bit about yesterday. Anytime the slope is 0, that makes what type of line? Horizontal. All right, so I was trying to remind kids, horizontal line means it's passing through the y-axis. If it's passing through the y-axis, that means it's y equals. So in this case, y equals 4. Y equals 4. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, continue on. Number 3. Now, it doesn't say what form here, but it's kind of obvious because all the answers are in slope-intercept, right? But we will start this with point-slope, right? Because they give you a slope, they give you a point. So again, we would say y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then we plug in. Remember, this is x1, this is y1, and this is m. So when you plug that in, remember you get y minus 2 equals 1/2 times x minus 4. Now if it said what's point-slope form, that would be your answer. But obviously it's in slope-intercept, so you have to distribute the 1/2. When you distribute the 1/2, you get y minus 2 equals 1/2 x minus 2. Then you add 2 to both sides. Y equals 1/2 x. Everybody okay with that? And because y equals 1/2 x, we know the answer is what? D. All right. Now for the next problem. On the next problem, we have 2 points. So in order to write the equation line, we need the slope. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and find the slope. So m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, 3 minus 1 over 2 minus -1, 2/3. Now, when I'm taking a standardized test, the first thing that comes to my mind is it's not B and it's not D. All right, I like to do that because I don't want to make a careless mistake. All right. Now we just have to pick a point. All right, I'm going to choose 2, 3. So now we do y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus 3 equals 2/3 times x minus 2. Everybody happy with that? All right, now we're distributing. Y minus 3 equals 2/3 x minus 4/3. Now you have to what? Add 3 to both sides. When you add 3 to both sides, 3 is the same as 9/3. So your answer is just y equals 2/3 x plus 5/3. Okay. Everybody okay with that? All right. Number 6. I think this is just proportions, right? So here we go. What I would want you to do here is just find out how much it costs for 1, right? So 29.75 divided by 5. Well, I mean, that's like $30, right? So it's like around $6 a piece, right? So 6 times 8's got to be close to what? $48, right? So is everybody okay with that? I don't. Yes, sir.
I have a question on the board.
Okay.
How did you go from 9/3 to 5/3?
Because look right here. 9/3 minus 4/3. See it?
Yeah.
Okie doke. Here we go. Standard form. All right. Now for standard form, again, I'm just looking at it right now knowing I know it's not B and I know it's not D. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
All right, so now let's just look at it. We're trying to put x and y on the same side. So y minus 8, distribute the 2, 2x plus 6. Now I want the x to stay positive. So remember, I try to just keep this here. So 2x, move the y over becomes negative y, and the 6 over becomes negative 14. So again, we want to write it first, so it'd be 2x minus y equals negative 14.
Are you not allowed to have negatives?
Right, it's not that you're not allowed to have negatives. X is not allowed to be negative.
Oh, okay. So that's what
Yeah, X is not allowed to be negative.
Why would it not be positive 14? Because if you're moving it over, wouldn't you be adding?
Subtracting 6. I move the y to the right and the 6 to the left. So this is a minus y and a minus 6.
Okay.
What?
Are you allowed to, like, if you have if you have like negative 2x plus y equals 14, are you allowed to make it 2x minus y equals negative 14?
That's what we did. Okay. All right. Now, for number 8, we just got to be real careful. Number 8, we got to put it in slope-intercept form, kind of like what we were doing yesterday. So let's write that. 3x minus 4y equals 6. Negative 4y equals negative 3x plus 6. Remember, I moved the 3x over. Now I'm going to isolate the y by dividing by negative 4. So divide each part by negative 4, which is kind of annoying because it doesn't work out. Y equals 3/4 x minus 3/2. So it has a positive slope and a negative y-intercept. So remember, positive slopes go up the mountain. So it's got to go up. So because it has a positive slope, I know it's not what? Thank you, C or D. Now the y-intercept is negative 1.5, so it's not B. Does everybody agree with that? Because that y-intercept would be 0. So correct answer is what? Yeah, I'm happy with that. All right, hopefully it's coming back. All right, I know it's been a while. That's why you got to practice. All right. Let's move on. Number 9. All right. Now, the point slope. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so I can get it out of the way here. All right, so point slope form. Again, I think it's not a bad idea to write this. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Remember, this is x1, y1, m. So here we have y plus 5 equals 2 times x minus 0. And again, if you just, because that 0 doesn't have to be there, it would just be y plus 5 equals 2x. I'm thinking B. Everybody good with that? What?
Why couldn't it also be A? Oh, we're asking.
All right, look at number 10. Slope-intercept form. So now we're just putting it into y equals mx plus b. So I have y plus 6. The first thing I want to do is distribute. So that'd be 2x plus 4. Subtract 6. Y equals 2x minus 2. B. Everybody okay with that? All right. Here we go. Let's take a look at 11. When are two lines parallel? Easy enough.
When the slopes are equal.
When the slopes are equal. Thank you. Easy as that. Number 11, find the slope-intercept form of the equation that passes through the line -1, 2, parallel. All right, so if the lines are parallel, that means, remember, the slope of the parallel line would equal what? 2, right, yep, because, again, we're using this equation for the slope. And the slope of that equation is obviously what? 2. So that means the slope of the parallel line would also have to be 2. Now it's passing through the point -1, 2. So again, we're going to start with point slope. So we would say y minus 2 equals 2 times x plus 1. Now we can distribute. Y minus 2 equals 2x plus 2. Y equals 2x plus 4. So we're happy with that? Correct answer is A. Okay, now you have to remember about perpendicular. Perpendicular lines, what's true about their slopes? Opposite what?
Reciprocal.
Yeah, opposite reciprocals, right? Yes, sir.
On the one before that, if it was going to be point slope, would it be y minus 2 equals 2x plus 2?
No,
Would that be plus 2?
no. Point slope would be just this. You would just leave it like that.
Oh, okay.
All right. So now what I need to do is I need to come down. I need to find the slope of this line. That's the most important thing. All right. So we have to find the slope of that line. So we're going to isolate. So -3y equals -x plus 5. Now we divide by -3. So y is equal to 1/3 x minus 5/3, but the y-intercept doesn't matter because the only thing we care about is the what?
1/3.
The 1/3, the slope. All right, so now right underneath that, you just tell me the slope of the perpendicular would have to be what? -3. Perfect. And now it passes through what point? I forget.
0.
Wow. So why is this one really easy? Can anybody tell me right off the bat?
The only one with
No. Well, that is true. The only one. That's even better than my thought. The only slope that's -3 is B. But I was thinking the reason why this one's so easy, and I want everybody to make yourself a note, this right here is called the what? Thank you very much. That is called the Y-intercept. So we can automatically just write y equals -3x plus 6. But I like what you said. Check and cross out answers. All right? Easiest way to take a standardized test. What, Bo?
So, what happens to 5/3? Does that just not matter?
Right. It doesn't matter because that was the other line. Remember? This had everything to do with the other line. I'm making a new line. You with me? I needed the slope of that line to figure out what the perpendicular was.
Okay.
All right, here we go. How would you describe the relationship? Well, if you're looking at this, can everybody tell me? I don't think this is on the test, but you would just say that's what? Yeah, strong negative. Basically, it's just asking about the slope. And the reason why it's strong is because it forms a line, right? A weak negative relationship would look something like this, where the numbers, it's trending down, but it's not a line, okay? Now, here, do you remember, this is how I want to review your calculator with you, all right? So remember now, guys, I ask you to be able to write the line of best fit using your calculator. All right, this is what I want to do. So here you got to be kind of careful. All right. So what are the ordered pairs that we have here, guys? The 3 ordered pairs that are known.
80 and 90.
I know what you meant. 90 and 80, right? Now we could treat 0, 0 then as what? 100. And then that would be what? About 69 or 68, doesn't matter to me. And then 100 and what? 110 would be about what? About 55. All right, so now let's review this.
It's 2 1s and then see, I thought it.
Yeah. Okay, so remember you go to Stat, then you go to Edit. Under L1, you type in the X coordinates. Under L2, you type in the Y coordinates. Let's go, chop, chop. Let's go. Who doesn't have their calculator? Where's yours? We'll get it. Come on, you guys. Come on. Practice. Let's go. Remember, Stat, Edit. Under L1, type in the X coordinates. Under L2, type in the Y coordinates. Then after you do that, you go Stat. Then you go over to Calc. Then you go down to line reg, which I think is 4, if I'm not mistaken. Right? And then you just hit enter all the way through. All right, then it gives you a line of best fit.
I was going to ask, shouldn't it be 56? Because it's really damaged.
Okay, once you do that, all right, come on, guys. Come on, I'm trying to get through. All right. Now, your line of best fit will come up as y equals, and then it tells you, I think it says A and B, but you know, yeah, so A is the slope. What did it come up to be about?
Negative 1.25.
Negative
It's
1.25,
like 192.66.
192. Okay. Now, the best thing to do now is to put that into your equation, right? But we really don't have to because we want the year 2020, right? So now you got to be careful. 2020 would be what? When x is 120, right? So all you're doing is essentially plugging in 120 in there. All right? And when I plugged 120, what did it come up to be about? What is it?
About 42.
So 42, so we would say less than 50, I think. All right, but double check that, please. I don't want one person doing the work. What?
How did she get 42?
Well, if you wanted to, you could just type in on your calculator negative 1.25 times 120 plus 192. Where did the 120? 120 came from the year 2020, which is 120 past 90. What?
Where on my calculator we put on the history?
You can go to the table.
What will we put in for the Y?
It'll tell you what the Y value is. Right? So I'm not understanding some of your questions. So look, this is under Y1 now, right? You would type that under Y1. This equation here, buddy.
Okay, yeah.
And then you go to your table and look at 120. And then that will tell you what the answer is.
Okay.
All right, come on now. You got to practice that. Make sure you're good. So remember on the table, you go to the table and just type in 120 and it'll spit out the Y value. Or you can just do this. You can just do the problem or do the equation yourself on your calculator. Just do negative 1.25 times 120 plus 192. What's the matter? Someone, what?
Where do you put the 120 when you're doing it instead of like actually doing the equation?
You can look at your table, remember?
Yeah.
Go to second table. And you're supposed to be able to type in 120 on your X.
Got it.
If you can't type 120 on your X, you got to fix your table. What?
I typed in 120 and it didn't change it.
That's because you didn't type in the equation properly. You have to go to Y1. There has to be an equation in there. Right? You have to type in the equation for it to tell you an answer.
The equation is negative 1.25.
Yes. Come on. Come on. Come on.
No, but you gotta put it.
So no accent.
Come on, bro. You didn't type it in. You didn't put in the X. All right? You see how you left out the X? Anybody else? Come on, come on. Everybody's good? All right, let's move on. Which equation has a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of negative 5? That's kind of easy, right? Bless you. Everybody okay with that being D? All right, so now here's another example. Right now, guys, come on. Another example where we're using our calculator. Come on, let's go. Practice, practice. I want it right now. Let's go. Chop, chop. It shouldn't take us this long. It's taking us too long. All right, I want everybody to hit stat. Come on, everybody's listening to me. Stat, edit, L1. Now remember, to clear the old list, you can just hit go up, clear, and then go down, and it'll clear the list. Or you can just do what? Type over the numbers. Doesn't matter. Now under L1, you type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then under L2, 122, 131, 130, 133, 145, 139. Chop, chop. Get that in there. After you do that, after you get the data points in, you should have written down my notes. All right? If you don't remember, you now hit stat. Again, once you enter the data points, then you go over to calc. Then you go down to linear regression. Then hit enter all the way through. Somebody tell me what the
3.7
plus 120.
3.7x plus 120, is that correct? And now we want to do it for week 16. So if you want to, now you can just plug 16 in for x. Does everybody agree with that? And if I plug 16 in for x, someone help me. So we would say the answer would be about what? 180, right? About 180. What? Come on.
I think down in the answers instead of
Yeah, it's OC.
Yeah, those are kind of close. I don't really. Right. Did everybody else get about 180?
It's 182.
2,000.
Well, you just made a mistake with your points.
I think it was 182 because we didn't add the decimal.
Yeah, again, that's true. You can't if it was closer to 3.8, it's going to make a difference.
It was
All right.
120.
Right. So you have to just be real careful. Be real careful. All right. Let's go. Now, here we go for 18 and 19. This is just a great review question. Everybody's listening. Inverse. F negative 1 means finding the inverse. All right. And to find the inverse, all we did was we switched the x and the y. So make yourself a note. Don't be confused by the symbolism. This symbol right here, F of negative 1, just means find the what? Find the inverse. So I'm going to do 18 right now. 18 is y equals 6x plus 3. Is everybody with me on that? To find the inverse, you just switch the what? X and the y. So now it is what? X equals 6y plus 3. Everybody see that? And now you just go back and solve for y. All right, so in order to solve for y, subtract 3 from both sides. So now I have 6y equals x minus 3. Then I divide by 6. Y equals x minus 3 over 6. There we go. All right, so again, let's just refresh. 19. The equation is y equals, let's just go ahead and distribute the 4. 12x minus 20. Does everybody see that? Finding the inverse. Switch the x and y. So x equals 12y minus 20. Now what do I do to both sides? Add 20. So x plus 20 equals 12y. Now what do I do? Divide by 12. Thank you. X plus 20 divided by 12. So again, that's something that a lot of kids forget. Inverse. Inverse. Switch the x and y and solve for y. That's the rule. All right? All right, now let's take a look at question 20. What is the slope-intercept form? Yeah. So that just means b is what? That just means b is 0. Wow, look how easy that was. So it's just what? Y equals 1/4 x. Yeah, that was really simple. Okay. All right, so let's look at the next one. All right, this one doesn't have the y-intercept. Do you agree? So it's kind of annoying. So we're going to find the slope by putting a point here and a point here. So I went up what?
2.
And over what?
1.
So the slope is 2. All right, now what I'm going to do is I have to fix this. Y equals 2x minus 4. y equals negative 2x minus 4, y equals negative 2x plus 4, and then the last one is y equals, now here is a good technique, so I want everybody to pay attention. So which ones can I cross out right off the bat? Cross out B, cross out C, because they have negative slopes. Now, is the y-intercept going to be positive or negative? Negative, so it has to be what? Has to be A. Come on, guys, that's just good technique. Good technique for doing these multiple choice. I looked at the graph. True or not? Come on now. The y-intercept is way down here, it looks like to me, if I'm drawing this graph out. See what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Yeah, look at the y-intercept. All right, they're not going to say, ha-ha, tricked you, it was really supposed to be positive. All right, it's not possible. All right? Okay, so here we go. Now, let's do this real quick on the calculator just to show you. All right, again, practice. Come on, practice, practice, practice. Stat. Edit. Come on, let's go. Clear the list. Practice clearing the list. Clear and go down. Clear and go down. Never delete the list. Clear the list. Clear, now go down. Oh, go up. Then clear and go down. So what somebody said already? So does everybody see how nice that is on the calculator, how quickly you could do it? Right? All right, last chance for that. Remember, you go to Stat, Edit. Remember, to clear the list, you go all the way to the top of the list, hit clear, then go down. It'll clear the list. Then type in the X and type in the Y. L1 is X, L2 is Y. Then you go Stat, Calc, and then you go all the way down to 4, hit Enter all the way through, and it tells you what the answer is. All right, that's nice. Very nice. All right. Now, again, let's just go through this, please. So we want to find the slope, right? So M equals negative 9 minus negative 5 over 6 minus 4. So it looks to me like the slope was negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. Wow. So that answer is what? C. Everybody agree with that? All right. All right, guys, that was a good job today. I will finish up and get it posted. Okay, so what is the standard form of the equation of the line 6, negative 3 with slope 2/3? So again, you have to put it into the point slope form first. Again, point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Then you're basically making a substitution. So it would be y plus 3 equals 2/3 times x minus 6. Now remember, in order to get it in standard form, you should be able to look at that and say right off the bat, I know it's not a because the x coordinate cannot be negative. All right. Also, you have to remember that you're not allowed to have fractions. So we would go ahead and we would multiply the entire equation through by 3. When you multiply the entire equation through by 3, you end up with 3y plus 9 equals. Now, if I multiply the 2/3 by 3, that cancels, and now you just distribute the 2. So that becomes 2x minus 12. And now standard form, you get the x and y on the same side. Constant goes away from the x and y. So I'm going to subtract 3y, and I'm going to add 12. So I end up with 2x minus 3y equals 21. So 2x minus 3y equals 21 is B. All right. Now let's take a look at number 25. Let me shrink this down out of the way. All right, and now let's take a look at 25. So again, this one's much easier because I want you to look, even though it doesn't say point slope form, you should be able to look at the solutions and realize that they're all written in point slope form. So all you have to do is plug those numbers into that format. And again, the format is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So that would be y minus 4 equals negative 3 times x minus 2. So that looks to me like the correct answer should be A. All right, correct answer should be A. All right, now the nice thing about question number 26, we've talked about it a bunch. All right, up at the beginning of this lesson, we talked about the slope equals 0. Slope equals 0 is a horizontal line. When your slope is undefined, that means you are vertical. So your line has to be vertical. If your line is vertical, that means it passes through the x-axis. So it would just be x equal whatever the x-coordinate is. So x equals negative 2. That's simple. All right. Now for question number 27. Find the slope-intercept form of the equation line that passes through. All right. Negative 1, 5, and parallel. So we already described up above. Parallel means the same slope. So the first thing we have to do is we have to find the slope. So to find the slope, you got to put it in y equals mx plus b. So you'd have 2y equals negative 4x plus 8. Divide by 2, y equals negative 2x plus 4. So the slope of this line is negative 2. So then the slope of the parallel line would also equal negative 2. And it passes through the point negative 1, 5. All right. Now, again, looking back, we can say, well, it's obviously not B, obviously not C, because the slopes are not negative 2. So now we'll just put this in point slope form. So it'd be y minus 5 equals negative 2 times x plus 1. Distributing the negative 2, y minus 5 equals negative 2x minus 2. Adding 5 to both sides, y equals negative 2x plus 3. So y equals negative 2x plus 3. Correct choice, D. All right. All right, 28. The line DE contains the point negative 1, negative 4, and 3, 3. So if we want them to be perpendicular, we want the slopes to be negative reciprocals. So again, this one is kind of tricky, so I want you to be real careful and listen to me. DE, I need to find the slope of DE. So the slope of DE is going to be 3 plus 4 over 3 plus 1, which is 7 over 4. Now, in order for them to be perpendicular, the slope of FG must be negative 4/7. All right? The slope of FG must be negative 4/7. All right. Now, first of all, the point negative 3, 3, which is kind of annoying now because the only way to do this is just by trial and error. So we have to pick each point and see if the slope is negative 4/7. All right. So the first one I'm going to choose is 1/7. All right, A. So now watch. So to do the slope, 7 minus 3 over 1 minus negative 3, that's just 4 over 4, so that's not the right answer. So now I'm going to try 110. All right, so get that out of the way. I'm going to try 110. And now for 110, slope 10 minus 3 over 1 minus negative 3, which is, oh, so close, 7 over 4. So that's not correct. All right. So now let's try C, which is 1, 4. Let's see if that works. So 1, 4. So now 4 minus 3 over 1 plus 3, 1/4. So clearly that is not the right answer. So just my luck, the last choice has to be the right answer. We don't have to try it. So D. All right. That was annoying. All right. So if Q has a slope of -2, what is the slope of any line perpendicular? Remember, because it is perpendicular, the slope is the negative reciprocal. So if the slope is -2, the slope of the perpendicular would have to be the reciprocal and the opposite sign. So it would be C, 1/2. Now again, finding the inverse. Remember what I told you, you're just switching the x and y, that's all. So to find the inverse, we would be taking -1, 2, -2, 5, 9, 6, 5, 7. Notice all I did was I switched the x and y's. So that looks to me like -1, 2, -2, 5. So that looks like D is correct. All right. And now finding the inverse. It looks complicated by the notation, but if you simply know the notation, again, remember, let me stress, f to the -1 just means inverse. F -1 just means inverse. Inverse means switch the x and y. So we have x, or I should say, let's just show all the work here. Y equals 4x plus 3. Switch x equals 4y plus 3. Subtracting 3, x minus 3 equals 4y. Divide by 4. So y equals x minus 3 all over 4. So again, that would be B. All right, last one. All right. Now here it's kind of weird, but again, it just still applies. It's in standard form. Doesn't matter what form it is, we just switch. So that'd be 3y plus 4x equals 12. 3y equals 12 minus 4x, and then we divide by 3. 12 minus 4x divided by 3 is A. All right, so there you have it. All of the Chapter 4 exam review. All right, completed. All right, please take your time, look things over, make sure you understand everything. I'll be posting the solutions, and then looking at the video is good. All right, have a good day.